All right, you guys, we are going to talk about leadership, and you all heard what Brittany said, talking about making an impact, and that is pretty much what leadership is. It's not telling people what to do, it's the ability to influence them. And you all know the John Maxwell quote, if you look behind you and people aren't following, you're not leading. You're taking a walk by yourself. And I'm just curious, how many of you in here want to develop leaders? How many of you want leaders on your team? Is there anybody who doesn't? A lot? People might not, like they don't want to deal with that or whatever. But I have good news for you. That's the way to create residual income, so y'all are smart. But also, you all have the ability to create bare minimum what you have already done. If you are a Ruby and you develop 2 rubies, what rank will you be? If you can get to Ruby, do you feel like you could show people how to do what you did? If not, look back at what you did and you'd be surprised that you actually do know what you did to get to where you are. You know how to do it. So if you are Emerald, you know how to do that too. And if you get 2 people to go Emerald, what rank will you be? Diamond. It's not complicated. So if you have ever hit the rank of Emerald or you've ever hit the rank of Ruby, same goes for Gold. If you are a Gold and you help 4 people go Gold, what rank will you be? Ruby. And Abby's training, by the way, I didn't tell you yet, but that is the best training that I have heard on helping people go Gold. You all need to listen to the recording because I'm going to do it myself as a great reminder, a great refresher of this is what needs to happen. Go, make it your goal this year to develop 2 to 4 of what you have already ranked as, and you will come back next year ranked up. So we're going to talk a little more specifically about how to do that. Don't overcomplicate this. If you guys have done it, I'm telling you, you know what it takes. Don't tell me you don't know. You all can recruit. You can teach someone how to recruit. If you can get to Gold by sharing with 3 people and then helping them get 3 people, you can tell somebody else how to do that. It literally just takes, I don't even need to say anything, just go do what Abby already told you to do. But first you have to be leading yourself. If you are not leading yourself, you cannot lead anybody else. And the speed of the leader is 100% the speed of the pack. And I really do believe that this is a huge part of how I was able to rank quickly and had my girls do the same, because I was working more than I expected them to work. If you guys expect your people to show up for book club or to do their IPA every day and you're not consistent in that, you can't expect your people to do that. It's a statistic that they will do half of what you're doing. When I heard that, I took it seriously because I was like, all right, how many hours a day does somebody need to grow their business? And I came up with 4, and so I worked 8. Every single day, even when I wasn't having success, I continually trusted the process and continually expected myself to do more. Even for this retreat, I'm like, I do have a hard time like telling people to do things, but I'm like, I'll do it. I'll do it. If someone else can't do it, or there's nobody to do it, or it just needs to be done, I will go and I will do it. Do that for your team. Just go and do it. Don't wait around for them to do it. You need to be the one taking the most action, doing the most, and helping the most people. All of the things you need to be doing more. To manage yourself well, you need to be willing to be coached. And how many of you think you're coachable? I don't know all of you personally, but I will say, if your upline says that you need to go out and meet new people and you're not doing it, you're not coachable. We're not doing what they said. If they say, this is the one thing that could help you grow your business and you're not doing it, or at bare minimum asking questions and digging in, I don't expect you to just like jump when I speak. Like if I say, go and do this, figure out why you're not doing it, figure out how you can do it better, and learn how to go and do what is holding you back. Because most people will sit there and say, I am so coachable. I'm just going to tell them your leaders, like, they'll come to me and be like, say the opposite. And I'm going to say, like, you guys have to really dig into being coachable. And that applies to all of us. You have to manage your own time, and we talked about that a bit on the Diamond panel, but this was the number one question that we got. So if people in this room are struggling with that, your people are struggling with that too. Don't be afraid to tell them, like, work during nap time. Okay, your baby's not taking a nap. Let's figure out how to get your baby to take a nap. Let's figure out how you can have time in the evening to be with your husband and then go and work your business or whichever order you do that in. Let's see. You also have to know where you are going. And if you don't know where you're going, John Maxwell says any train will take you there, which is true. And your day is going to run you instead of you running your day. I knew very well where I was going. I put my blinders on. Nobody was going to tell me any different. And I was going to go straight towards my goal. And as I was going for my goal, that's part of like with Brittany, like I wasn't worried about whether she came on because I didn't care. Where I was going wasn't dependent on her. She got back on with where I was going and owned it for herself because I was still heading there myself. It's kind of like trying to figure out a family vacation and nobody's really taking action. And then you're like, all right, we're going here. And everyone's like, yay, they're excited. And then everybody's going there. You have to take that first step. You have to be the one moving and going forward. You also have to be bold and be confident, and this is not a personality. And I know that's easy for me to say because you think I'm bold, you think I'm confident, but I'm really not all of those things all of the time. And I have seen really shy, quiet people be really bold and be really confident. It's an insecurity, which is a character flaw if you are not being bold and being confident. It's not your personality. Everybody can be passionate and be bold about something, whatever it is to you. Maybe you're passionate about gardening or hunting or having your kids in sports. Be solid in your belief and in what you are doing with your life and your family, and people will follow that. The Diamonds were talking a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, I didn't know how I had influence with people, and Brittany said that I challenged her. Like, she would be maybe complaining about something over and over, and I'm like, why are you complaining about it? Go and do something about it, or just accept it. And she's like, that challenged me. It challenged her to think differently, like, okay, maybe I should stop complaining and go do something, but challenge people in a kind of like a mic drop way. Like, I didn't expect her to go and do it. I didn't ask her for feedback. I just said what I had to say and I moved on. I didn't worry about dragging her, sucking it out of her. Well, why don't you want to do that? And just getting like this counseling type of thing going on. Like, that wasn't my job. I'm just like, here's what we should do. Let's do it. If you don't like that idea, we can talk about that too. So if you look, and this is kind of going into the next section, but if you look at someone and think, they are going to get me to diamond, instead of thinking they're going to be a diamond, that is entirely the wrong mentality, and people can smell that a mile away. And I have been on both sides of that. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go diamond. I'm going to go diamond. This person, I need these people to go diamond versus, wow, look at what she has totally outside of what I'm working towards. And if you help them hit their goals, you will hit yours. And that's an automatic, like, you know that, keep that in the back of your head. It's pretty much a no-brainer. But if you're thinking about yourself and how you just signed up a rock star for you versus you signed up a rock star for what it's going to do for them, people are going to know that. And that is not part of loving your people. So you need to truly listen to them. This is part of loving them. You have to truly, truly listen. That means if you called and you're excited to talk about convention and she starts crying because she had a fight with her husband, what do you think you're going to talk about? You're going to talk about her husband. It's time to shift into friend mode. You're going to not care about what you wanted, which is my agenda today was to get everybody on board for convention. No, your agenda now is to be a friend to that person. Now, I will say, sometimes people get stuck in that needing you to be a friend, and then there's no business, and that's not okay either. We are here for a business, but if it's like in that moment, I just got really bad news, your heart should sink with that person. This is called empathy, and it's really sad to me to see that not everybody has that. I'm like, girl, why are you trying to sell her Plexus when she's talking about someone that just died? You can't be so, and it is easy to get that one track mind and you're thinking about maybe how Plexus could help her, but that's not what she needs right now. This is what she needs. So really honing in on that. And I am all about schedules. My babies are on schedules, my whole life is like, it's lunchtime, why are the babies not in bed? It's after lunchtime, whatever. So we have a pretty strict schedule so I can get the most amount done in my day. Otherwise, if there's no schedule, I could just easily sit on the couch holding my babies all day long. So we have a schedule, but if I have a worker who comes to me and she has a new worker and it's in the middle of dinner, I will be honest, I will go. Not if it's every day, but here and there. Like if you have somebody new, I will go and I will leave dinner early and go and work with that person. I have gotten out of bed and late at night. I have gotten on the phone when I don't want to, when it's not my work hours, when I'm supposed to be driving home from a massage relaxing, and somebody calls me and it's something urgent, like with the business, meaning it's making them money, it's making me money. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to be that sacrificial type of leader that's going to not be so much like, call me in 2 hours. And you don't want to do that all the time because sometimes people are excited and you really have to feed on that excitement, especially if they're ready to join. I think we all know that. Like if they're ready to join, like we're going to drop everything and get them joined because in a few hours they might change their mind. But do that with your leaders too, because it's part of caring more about them than about yourself. And I know some of you don't have a lot of boundaries, so that's going to be harder for you because you're like, I'll just let everybody walk all over me and then you're drained at the end of the day. But if you can have boundaries while still putting their needs above your own, they know that. They know that they can call you at 2 a.m. and you're going to be there. I'm not talking about like a new silver. I'm talking about like hardworking, maybe rubies, maybe senior golds, or people who are bringing in money for themselves and working their business. Leadership is servitude, and it's not talked about that way all of the time, but that's what it is. You have to be the greatest servant of your people, or they're not going to really care much for you because they're making you a paycheck. And it's really easy for them to feel like that's all they are, is part of your paycheck. And if you don't love them well, that is exactly what they are going to feel like. And then, let's see, I'm trying to hurry because I'm a little behind. But who should you invest in with your leadership? And these are non-negotiables. Any book that you read on this topic or any leader that you will talk to is going to tell you that these 4 things are who you're going to develop as a leader. So you have people on the products, and then you give them all the opportunity to be a business builder, but then we have leadership. So these are leadership traits. If you're going to have the ability to call me at 2 a.m. with a new join, you have to be, number 1, somebody that I like. You guys are working with people that you don't like. I know you yellows probably struggle with this a little bit more, but it's going to feel like work, and you're not going to be happy at the end of your month. You're not going to be happy trading time with your husband for a business builder if you don't like them. I get we should love everyone. I'm talking about like, is there chemistry? Like, can you talk for hours and enjoy their company and doing life with them? More than likely, they will, if they're older than you, they're going to be somehow giving you value. Or if they're more than likely, it's probably going to be someone in your age group. Like you're talking about breastfeeding, you're talking about potty training, you're talking about kids getting married, you're going to have a lot in common. And those are most likely going to be your people. A lot of people will say that they don't like their team, and I'm like, then find people that you do like. I know you love everybody, but do you love doing life with them so that you can build this group of people you want to go to Hawaii with? You have to want that. And if you don't have your people yet, you have to know yourself to be able to find your people. So learn who you are, what drives you, what makes you tick, all the things that Emily and Terry talked about. Being coachable, it's called coachable, but what coachable really means is, are they hungry to learn? Are they willing to learn? Are they asking questions? It's not they're going to do every single thing that you tell them to do exactly how you tell them to do it. Especially working with leaders, that red take charge type of personality, that type of person does not want to be told what to do. They want to have the freedom and the flexibility to be their own leader. So you have to get smart. You have to have the wisdom to know, like, what does that look like? What are the things that are non-negotiable? Like, what really needs to happen? What are the things they have to do? And then where's flexibility? Like, if all you've done is Zoom events and they want to do an event in a chat, I have heard leaders say, no, this is how we do it. Let them go, and then you say, tell me how it goes. Let me know if that worked. And a lot of my leaders have come up with great ideas, and we start doing that. Sometimes they have bad ideas and it doesn't go well, and I'm like, well, I kind of told you that, but that's how they learn. And this is really good. So you have to like them, they have to be coachable. And this kind of goes along with it, but they have to always be growing. They need to be attending conferences, they need to be listening to audiobooks, they need to be growing on their own. And we gave you a lot of skill set stuff here, but it's mostly mindset stuff because their skill set, they can go and learn that somewhere else. And it's really hard to know like exactly what skill set somebody needs and how deep to go on it because everybody's different. So they need to be growing on their own and doing all of these things in and of themselves apart from you. It would be really draining if I had to teach all of my leaders exactly how they do things. And I asked Brittany one time, I was like, how do you know how to do all of this? I never told you go and do this ever. She's like, well, I just watched what you did and I just copied what you did. And she went and read some books. And that's what I did was I went and read some books. And the other thing is pretty obvious to me, it's not obvious to everybody else, is they need to be producing. If you are going to spend time with someone growing a business, my family is the most important thing to me in the whole world. That is my top priority, and I will not waste my time on somebody who is not producing. Hey, mommy's growing a business. Just kidding. I'm just helping somebody who doesn't even want to help themselves. And you go do your own thing while I do this and help someone who doesn't even want help, who's going to ditch me years from now, not even care about me or what I'm doing. It doesn't even matter to them. To help that, to sacrifice, I'm not going to do that. I'm not willing to do that. And you shouldn't be either. So if you're dragging someone, I wouldn't do it. Go find some more people. All right, the other, so the how, that's who we should be developing. And then how. You get people to follow you by influence. And if you haven't read John Maxwell's book, Becoming a Person of Influence, it is probably the best book that I have picked up on this topic. Like 21 Laws of Leadership is great, like the how-tos, but this is how to change you as a person and becoming that person to get people to follow you. And this actually applies to your marriage, your family, your kids, anywhere you want to be an influential person, you are going to do that by influence. Okay, so you are going to model it for them and bring them along. By leading yourself and having belief in yourself or working on it, that is how people are going to follow you. If you don't even believe in yourself or what you are doing, nobody else is going to either. So I want you to think of people who are influential, who will get like huge followings of people. Think about presidents or candidates for presidents or whatever, and think, why is this person getting so many people to follow them? And it's not just personality, it's they're standing for something and they're rock solid in their belief, or they're just, if you think of who you're influenced by, they stand for something. They're not just letting life direct them and they don't know who they are or what they're doing or where they're going. They know, even if it's not necessarily the right thing. Again, Brittany, I was like, okay, how am I influential? And she said, I showed up at church with all of my kids, so that was automatically different. I brought my own food because crazy, but apparently that was cool. And I stood behind like, I'm not eating white bread, like I'm eating this. And that, she was curious, she had questions. It was different than what everybody else was doing, but I was rock solid in my belief of what I was doing. So don't be afraid to be the only person who is living a certain way or whatever. Just be different and be bold in what God has called you to do and who He has called you to be. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Be your best self, but be yourself. Especially on social media, you can attract people that are like you, and you're going to be more likely to like the people that you've attracted. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Give them belief and have a play, be that person that believes in them. So many people do not believe in themselves, and if you are working on belief, it's really easy to learn to believe in yourself and then believe in other people. You can see traits in them that maybe you don't have, or you've been doing this and you're like, I see this in you. Share those things with them, and that is going to build their belief in you as you add value and build their beliefs in themselves. Also, just showing them, like, if I can do this, you can do this. If she can do this, you can do this. You don't have to be this picture perfect person to influence people. You just have to be going somewhere and doing something. So influential people are followed because they are bold and because they are different. So find what makes you different. You're already different because you're an entrepreneur. You're doing Plexus. So you're automatically already different. Doing something cool, you got your laptop, you're making money from your phone. Don't be afraid to talk about those things, because you know what everyone else is doing? They're saying that they're making money from their phones. And yes, I get it. I was the silver who wasn't making much money, and I just pointed to somebody else who was. Somebody else in my company who was making money, because that's the next objection, like, okay, but what if I'm not making money? I get it. I know how your minds work. So don't be afraid to share that with them. Take a stand, have a standard for whatever it is. Obviously, I'm really passionate about raw milk and about food and about homeschooling, and these things are different. Jamie, we talked about this. She's passionate about her kids in sports and the reasons why they're in sports. That's different from some people, because my kids aren't in sports. We're not doing that. If you can be passionate and bold about something, people will grab onto that. You need to tell real life stories and sharing stories in your posting. So getting good at storytelling, there's a ton of books. Goodness, you can even ask ChatGPT what books are good on storytelling. You can ask Google, you can find them and learn how to be a storyteller. Look at people's posts who grabbed your attention. Like, what are they saying? Really analyzing everything. Like, why is this good? Why am I drawn to this? When I first started creating business builders, I looked like, okay, how did my upline get me? What did she do to get me? And just analyzing everything that she said, everything she did, and like, where was that aha moment? That was my favorite thing to ask people too, because I wanted to know, like, what made people like, I want this. This is for me. You need to pose yourself as, and I don't know how I do this, but pose yourself as an expert in multiple areas. If somebody else can figure out how to do it, do a training on it and explain it, great. I just know that people come to me all the time and they think I know all these things, like about farming or about how we're eating, and I don't know all of the answers, but people think that I do. I think it's because I just confidently say what I think and it's different, and then they're like, okay, she must know what she's talking about. Let me ask her a million questions. Even though she's still learning too. So if you can be that person, and how do you know what are you an expert in is what people come to you asking questions about. That has to be part of your brand. If they're asking you, how do you do your eyebrows, or what's your chore system for your kids? They seem to really work hard. What is your homeschool curriculum? Like, all of it, where do you shop? These things could probably be a part of your brand if you're getting that continually. Marriage advice, parenting, all of these things. To be influential and to get people on their journey, you have to be going somewhere. You have to inspire people, and you need to inspire them to greatness by living a bold life. Even if you haven't arrived yet, you're always talking about where you're going. I got all of my top leaders when I was still heading where I am going, but I talked about where I was going with them and in my posting all of the time. And if you want to inspire people, and if you want to leave an impact, having a legacy and making a difference, leadership is 100% the way to do it, which is why I'm so passionate about this topic. It's your answer to residual income. It's not recruiting yourself there. You're going to burn yourself out if all you do is recruit yourself all the way to whatever rank. You've got to develop leaders, and you have to influence those around you. And this is how you do it. So if you want to know more, hands down, get John Maxwell's book, because you are not selling Plexus at all. You need to learn about sales, and Michelle's talk was super good on selling, but even if you're listening to what she's saying, she's still talking about selling yourself. It doesn't matter what product I stand behind. There's lots of health companies out there. Plexus is the best and I love it. However, they are joining me not necessarily because of Plexus. There are tons of supplements out there, tons. Sometimes they even buy from other companies, but they join me because they buy into me and my vision and how I make them feel about themselves, and they want something that I have. So if you can do that with people, they are going to follow you in their business, and then you've got to do the skill set part of it too. Once you have them wanting to follow you, then you have to turn them into a goal. Then you have to do the leadership stuff. Christina was talking about today. There's more practical things, but this is the first step, is becoming a person of influence, and that is also how you're going to attract customers as well. All right. I think that's it. Jamie? You got something? It is really hot up here, you guys. I just want you to know, it is like so hot up here.